Yo, what up, Nyakos? It's your buddy Philko here reporting live from your mama's house. Doing my thing as I usually do. Reporting live for the first time in a while. I'm reporting from my study room. It's kind of messed up right now because I'm drying clothes and stuff. And I'm naked, so I can't put the camera any lower. Or may I say I'm bottomless, whatever. This is where the sauna is and shit. So I don't know. Somebody's sleeping in the second living room. So I guess I'm going to come in here with it. Let me cut the light on. Yeah. I'm just bringing it to the sauna. You know, back in the me hanging out with Tauha days, we spent mad time in the sauna, just chilling and talking. So this will serve for some good memories. Today, I want to talk about fake news and a situation that happened with me when I lived in the city of Omsk. And yeah, let's just get to it. Nothing else to say. No other intro. Well, one of the biggest problems with the world nowadays, especially with the emergence of the internet, is fake news. You know, and I realized that I think everybody I know, they're used to and they're conditioned to sharing fake news. Everybody, especially on Facebook. You know, VK, where Russian people run, it's like the Russian Facebook. They typically don't do that. They just talk about themselves or talk about their days or share their favorite music. But Americans are so, on average, they're so dead straight on proving a point, and they use other people's media to try to prove that point, when typically that point is bullshit because the media is lying to you in the first place. How do I know this? Because unlike most people who share fake news, they've never been on the news. So they don't understand. They've never been on the news. And I mean, everybody does this. I'm not, everybody I know does this. Every American I know. You know, I don't really see like Andre sharing news and shit like that typically, or any other Russian person I hang out with. It's a very different mentality. It's a very, very different mentality. You know what I mean? Like, it's funny because the way I post, I always talk about myself. And some people think me post about myself all the time, I think I'm so cool and shit because I'm not sharing bullshit from CNN or Fox News. But it's because these people mostly bullshit and I can talk about myself and I don't need the bullshit. You know, so I could give examples of fake news that just the media bullshit, and then I can talk about fake news after. First time I was ever bullshitted by the media was in the city of Omsk. Was it Omsk? Maybe not. I don't remember. But I was in this city. No, it wasn't Omsk. It was some other small city. Because when I was touring this country for a year and a half, almost 2 years, on and off during the 2 years. I've been in 35 cities, some cities up to 10 times. So you could say I had at least 100 gigs around Russia. It was crazy. And every city I went to was a different hotel, different apartment and stuff. And 2 countries only though. But once in a while, people want to see me, blah, blah, blah. And usually I would tell my managers I'm not the biggest fan of the media. At this time, it was just because I didn't want to. It wasn't that I had something against the media at the beginning, not that I remember too well, but I just didn't want to. But this one time, for some reason, this guy must have paid my managers off well, because one day they contact me, or the guy, because it's a guy and a girl, the guy contacts me. He's like, hey, there's a man coming to your hotel now. He wants to interview you. And I'm like, damn, just like that? You didn't even ask? He's like, well, he's a good guy. He paid in advance. We'll give you a percentage, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, whatever. So the guy comes, and immediately he just starts interviewing me. All his questions, and this is before I knew the game. All his questions were normal. I was like, all right, cool. This is interesting, blah, blah, blah. Then his last question was like, there was a situation when where there's a drunk Russian guy on an airplane, and he was drunk, he started a fight. He was arrested for 10 or plus years because of the fight. What do you think about it? And my response was like, oh, that's Russia. I don't know. It's Russian rules, Russian laws. That's up for Russia to decide. You know what I mean? He was like, anything else? I'm like, no, I'm not Russian. That's for Russia to decide. That's it. You know, I had nothing to say. He's like, all right, thank you. I'm like, all right, cool. Like, 2 days later, headline to this motherfucker's article. Good thing it wasn't that big. Headline to this article, some bullshit like, American against arrest of Russian man, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what? How am I against it? So I read the article, and basically, he everything I said, everything he asked me before that, It was always in the first paragraph of the article. The last 3 paragraphs was all about that one answer I gave. And he was talking about he seemed upset. He was a little angry. He was disappointed with Russia. And I was like, all right, dude, hold up. You recorded the conversation. I saw your voice recorder. Just how about you send me the voice recorder so I can let the people know the truth, because this article kind of makes it look like I was upset. And he was like, no, before that I said, what did I say before that? I said, why did you write that stuff? It's not true. He goes, my manager made me do it. My boss made me do it. It's out of my control. Then I said, oh, if it's really out of your control, let me get the recording. You can send it to me through Google Drive, or I could come meet you and get it so I can play it on my YouTube channel so people know your manager's lying on me. Then he goes, once he said, oh, we can't find it, I deleted it. Oh, not I deleted it, but we can't find it, we lost it. I was like, oh, I see. And ever since then, I've always been like, fuck the media. Same thing happened with the American media when I was on Fresh Off the Boat. Same shit. Like, I explained to that dude 1 billion times, I'm not out here teaching Ebonics. Soon as the episode starts, Ebonics teacher. It's like, didn't I just tell these motherfuckers like 1 trillion times that I'm not a fucking Ebonics teacher? That there's a huge difference between slang and Ebonics? Like, people, I couldn't believe it. You know what I mean? So, those are just 2 examples of how the media just fucks people over. And then when it comes to spreading fake media, I even had an interview once. This was before the other one, but I didn't see this one until like a year after I did it. I did an interview in one city, and she was asking me questions. I was answering the questions in English. And when I was answering questions in English, they were translating it to nothing that I was actually saying. I was saying none of that shit. And they were translating it in a completely different way. And all the comments and shit under, oh, this motherfucker, when all those motherfuckers are stupid. And that's when I started learning the game. And I remember, whenever I used to watch hip-hop documentaries, all the rappers would be like, fuck the media, fuck the media. And I was like, why? The media's cool. It gives us the information we need. What? Now I understand it. And niggas don't understand it till they're in the news. That's why everybody, all they do is spread fake news. That's all they fucking do, is spread fake bullshit. I love when people talk about themselves because they know themselves. But people think they're so right, go to I'mRight.com and spread some bullshit to try to prove a point when they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Especially when you're talking about something you have no part of, or a place you've never even been. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You know, and it's just too common in American culture. And it honestly just fucking kills me. It kills me. And I even watch things out here. So for example, like if I were to watch Don't Be a Menace to Sound Central while drinking juice and hill with Russian subtitles, no, I'm not saying there's any malice. There's no malice here, but a lot of translations make no fucking sense. I'm like, why would they translate that? They don't even know what the fuck they're talking about. That's not what they're saying. That's not the idea they're trying to get across. But people don't know it because they're not a part of the culture. That's why I try not to talk shit or spread bullshit about a culture I have no part of. If I'm not a part of it, I don't understand it. That's it, period. You're not a part of it. You haven't been there. You don't know what you're talking about. And don't just trust some media bullshit when they're obviously trying to put a point across. If I were to believe any media, the only type of media I follow is the media that gives the good and the bad. It's like, yeah, this place has this, it's kind of fucked up. But then again, it has this that's kind of good. So you make your decision. That's the media I follow. All other media just pointing in one direction. They're most likely just giving you what they want to give you. Especially with all this edited content. Bullshit subtitles, cut scenes, and people just following it and just believing it. It's like, what is wrong with y'all? You know what I mean? So, and there's also one. Michael Strahan, one of my favorite football players. He was having an interview. You can see this. You can see this now. It's like top 10 interviews gone wrong with athletes, something like that. And in his interview, some lady was like about to ask him a question, and he just flips like immediately. No, first he asked her the question, and then he goes, "Wait, say that again." And when she starts to ask it again, he goes, "Look me in my face when you ask me this question. I want you to look me right in my eyes. Look at the man in his eyes before you try to kill him. Go ahead, ask the question." And then after that, they cut to a scene. He's like, "You know the difference between me reading your shit 10 years ago and me reading your shit now is that now I know bullshit when I read it. 10 years ago, I didn't know bullshit when I read it." Why does he feel that way? Because he's in the media. He understands now how they bullshit people. It's all a part of journalism and shit. He understands it. So if you're watching this video, please try to not share bullshit. You know, you could just look at something, take it at face value, with no evidence, anybody can do that. Do you know how many articles you look at that just aren't true at all? Just man, women electrocuted while giving birth to a baby or gave birth to a baby. Do you know a lot of people just make up this news because they get money when you click on it? Anyone can make up anything to get your attention and you click on it. If I'm going to click on something, it has to be at least a known popular source. And that doesn't mean I'm going to believe it at all. That just means at least these people are taking a risk. Everyone knows who they are. We all know who this writer is. Isn't some underground dude who could just disappear. This is CNN. They can't just disappear. You understand? I'm not saying I'm more likely to believe them. I'm more likely to read their bullshit than some loser bullshit who's just randomly trying to grab some dollars. So yeah, you guys got to keep that into consideration. Don't forget it. A lot of this new shit is bullshit. It's fake news. It's not real. A lot of it is fake and it's not real. And I need you guys to understand that. It's the #1 problem. I love Facebook, but I'd much rather scroll my VK wall, not my wall, but the VK updates than the Facebook updates, because Facebook updates is nothing but bullshit, fake news being shared all the time. And there's this one dude, like, it's funny because he's Russian, but he lives in America now. I proved to him that he was sharing some bullshit. And he was still defending it. And I proved it without a reason. I was like, well, it's still a good video. I'm like, but it's lying to everybody. And that's why people think stupid shit half the time. It's because you're spreading fake news and helping them to think it. Just to prove your point. His point was that immigration in the refugees and stuff in Europe is bad for Europe. And he showed a video of black people going crazy at a party and just beating up white people, like during a parade. But the problem was that shit was happening in America. That was America, wasn't Europe. But the title is in Poland, blah, blah, blah. And what they did was add Polish music in the background. Like you can't hear dudes going, I'm gonna fuck you up, my nigga. And I'm like, how the fuck is that Poland? Look at the fucking license plate. But people are stupid enough to still believe it. But I'll tell you this. Here's a tip. Here's a tip. When someone shares something, don't focus too much on the comments from their friends and stuff. No. Click on the actual video link. And usually one of the top 10 comments dispels it and why. It shows how it's bullshit. Like, hey, I speak Japanese. This is bullshit. That's not what they're saying. Trust me. Go to the comments that everybody's talking about. Because that's what I do that most people don't do. And the vast majority of the time, there's some bullshit there. Especially when it's about Islam. A lot of bullshit. You know what I mean? So that's it. I just want people to understand that. You know, it's really, really, really important. People love to talk shit about things they know nothing about. And the media loves to help you think that way. Because if I believed half the shit I read or heard, I would have never came to Russia. And I'm out. Later.